lunettes?
Yes. A lighter?
Ça va. The light is okay. My brother came to visit me in California, so he really likes to J'aimerais poser une question. Archie va parler en anglais. Je propose de prendre les notes et faire une traduction à la suite s'il y a suffisamment de gens qui ont besoin. Est-ce qu'il y a des gens qui préfèrent que je fasse une traduction à la suite?
Oui.
Okay. Très bien, donc pas de problème.
You got a problem?
There are enough people after you've spoken a short while, I'll take notes and then I'll transfer.
The sage, the smell of sage always reminds you of your own connections to the earth. And without it, many times, prayers don't mean too much when in reference to the earth. So you must have particles of the earth, sage, sweet grass, cedar, elements of such things are part of other incenses. Incense made from chemical resources has no true value in reference to the earth, only the good smell. Therefore the sage, as it comes and you smell it, you get a good feeling. This particular sage comes from California. And this particular sage, being that it comes from California, there's always another place that it grows. And that other place is in Dubrovnik, in Yugoslavia, the very same sage. Whereas the other sages that grow in the area are different. There are approximately 23 different sages, different sage, doing different things. Some of them, this one here is for purification of the mind, purification of spirit, purification of one's person to to understand his connection, that person's connections to the earth. It's always there, that we must understand it, that we can play and we can become serious, but even to have a blade of a leaf of a sage and burn it every day and just smell it. You know, and always the connection to the earth is there. You purify yourself with it and you walk the rest of the day with it. If you don't have the sage, then cedar, juniper is just as good to purify yourself. If you cannot find this sweetgrass, which, you know, most of us know that sweetgrass grows in abundance in Europe, but you know it by a different name and you can't never find it because you have lost the connection of this grass, or of the sage, or of the cedar.
L'odeur de sauge nous fait rappeler de notre connexion avec la terre. Sans aussi, on n'a pas le sauge, il y a aussi l'herbe douce, il y a le cèdre, il y a tous ces éléments qui vous font penser de la terre. Il y a un tas des autres choses qui sont des produits chimiques et ils ont des odeurs de la terre, mais ils ne viennent pas de la terre. Le sauge nous donne un sens de bien-être. Cette sauge ici, ça vient de Californie. Le même sauge, exactement le même plante, on retrouve à Dubrovnik en Yougoslavie. Il y a environ 23 variétés de sauge, mais les seules qui sont les mêmes, c'est celui-là de Californie et celui-là de Yougoslavie. Chacune de ces variétés a un effet différent. Celui-ci est pour la purification de l'esprit. Et chaque personne, et ça donne à chaque personne le sens de sa connexion avec la terre. Archie dit qu'il faut penser de brûler un peu de sauge chaque jour pour faire rappeler ça, qui vient et est une partie de la terre. Et c'est une forme de purification. S'il n'y a pas de sauge disponible, il y a toujours le cèdre, il y a juniper, et je cherche le mot, malheureusement c'est une petite genièvre, oui c'est ça, l'herbe douce, et je ne connais pas un autre mot.
C'est la glycérie.
Comment?
La glycérie.
Oui. Et il y a un tas de noms différents dans chaque pays pour ces mêmes herbes. Le problème avec le temps, on a tous oublié tout ça.
The sage is also part of the sage used is for the women during their moon time, their menstruation time. It's the only one that they can use. Different sages can be used for the moon. All other incense, such as cedar and sweetgrass, cannot be used. It is a sage that holds the answer to meditation, holds the answer to prayer, to reconnect yourself to the moon and its elements, And the stars, and the sun, and the earth, our mother. It's through this sage that we have been asked by the elderly women today to start to talk about this sage and to know and understand it. If you want to open the windows, get some of it out.
Le sauge est aussi quelque chose, une plante qui est aussi seule plante qui est bien pour les femmes pendant l'époque de la lune ou pendant ses règles. Ni aucune des autres plantes est recommandée. C'est la plante qui aide avec la méditation et les prières. Et ça nous met en connexion, ça renouvelle la connexion avec la lune, les aliments et la terre, notre mère. Les vieilles demandent qu'on parle de la sauge aujourd'hui et que l'on fait un effort de le comprendre.
I have been asked from the elderly women of my tribe to expand more into the healing ceremony, because we know for a fact that the sweat lodge, as we know it, must expand beyond our teachings rather than just the sweat lodge as is, as we have known it, with 4 doors. We must expand to 16 doors and 4 hours in the sweat lodge. So we are lengthening the sweat lodge a longer time with a better feeling. And so far, I believe we have done only one over here, and we have did several in Switzerland. And we're finding that it has a deeper penetration in spirit to those that have been participating in the sweat lodge. The healing as part of the purification ceremonies, the healing sweat lodge, to heal your own self. For times are coming now when the spiritual people must spread throughout the world in different categories, in different rituals, and in different teachings. Therefore, I was asked to expand more on the teachings of the sweat lodge. So, in the days that are coming ahead of you, we will be doing healing sweat lodges rather than regular sweat lodge with 4 doors. So those of you that are already involved with sweat lodges, you're going to find 16 doors is a lot of time. 16 doors with 64 rocks is a long time. But it's also a better feeling, a better understanding.
Les vieilles ont demandé à Archie qui parle beaucoup plus de la guérison et en rapport avec le Hutte de Sudation, qui ça doit être beaucoup plus étendu, qu'il y ait 4 portes derrière 16 portes et que le Hutte se porte sur 4 heures pour un meilleur feeling. On a fait uniquement une sweat lodge comme ça ici en France et plusieurs en Suisse. Et les résultats de guérison sont nettement meilleurs. Ils disent en même temps que les gens spirituels dans le futur qui viennent doivent beaucoup plus éparpiller dans le monde avec leur enseignement. Et c'est pour ça, même à ce niveau, que le sweat lodge sera dans le futur toujours de 16 portes et 64 pierres. ça veut dire ça va être beaucoup plus quelque chose de guérissant spirituel, que tout simplement de purification.
I have also been asked by the elderly people to, in one way, is not to identify to everybody who I am. Only that you are lame deer. Let them know that you are lame deer. Because people are confused today. They are calling you a medicine man. They're calling you a spiritual advisor. You're being called a spiritual leader. They give you all different names. So people at home, we know who you are. We know what you do. And if they want to know who you are and what you do, they will come over here and find out what you do and who you are. So identify yourself only as lame deer and let us explain to the people who you are. And it gives us a chance to work with other people also, because many people don't know if you're a hereditary chief, a warrior chief, a Sundance chief, or an herb man, or a man who works with the rocks, or they don't know what you do. No one knows. So throughout the world, everybody looks at an Indian, and because he works with spiritual understandings, they call him, that's a medicine man. There is no such animal as a medicine man. Medicine man belongs in Hollywood. I will say that again. He has been invented by Hollywood, like Frankenstein was invented in Hollywood. Medicine man is made in Hollywood. So you must understand that Mickey Mouse was made in Hollywood. So medicine man is also made in Hollywood. And you have your other words such as squaw. You know, there are names of this sort that is invented in Hollywood. And we see television and motion pictures, and we believe it, that there is such an animal as a medicine man. I'm here to tell you again today, as I always have done, there is no such animal as a medicine man. You know, the word is too small. For spiritual people who do different things, different rituals, hold different position within the tribe. So it creates a confusion. We are all confused. We'll call him a shaman. I'm not from Siberia. If I was from Siberia, you can call me a shaman. If I'm from Tibet, you can call me something else. If I'm from China, you can call me something else. Or Japan, everything. But don't put them all together and says, because we have to have a name for him, we'll call him a medicine man. That's always been our problem. Here in Europe, is always a problem. You don't know what that person is, so you give him a name. Because you have to fit him in the square that you have. You have to fit him inside. Because this man is round. He doesn't fit in your holes. And that's what I'm saying. My teaching is of the earth. The plants and trees, and they are round, and I don't fit into these holes. These little square boxes that you have built. I can't fit in there. It's impossible for me to fit. So you can call, it's easier to, my father always liked to be called a traditional man of the earth. That has better ring to it, you know. It's a traditional, lives that way, the ways of his grandfathers, and he came from the earth, so I'm a man of the earth. My teaching is of the earth. It has a better feeling. Because we know who we are. You don't have to give us names. So please don't give us names. You know, they call me all kinds of names. I know who I am. So you don't have to call me Maharishi, or you don't have to call me Johnson or anything like this. Call me anything you want to. Don't call. It's a name giving. We give each other's names. You know, Guy, you know, it's got an Indian name at home. I'm very glad to see Guy here because I have something to put reference to. When Guy is not around, we don't have no one to talk about. When he's not here, Renee is always here, so we always have somebody. They can't hide, but they are good friends, and as soon as she gets through with her interpretation, I would like to have everybody introduce themselves on the left and go around this way.
Les vieux veulent qu'ils s'identifient uniquement comme Lame Deer, pas comme parce qu'il est appelé partout comme chef spirituel, guérisseur, toutes sortes de noms dans les pays différents. Si les gens veulent savoir la personne qu'il est, les vieux disent il vaut mieux qu'ils viennent chez nous, où on peut identifier et expliquer la personne qu'il est. S'il est un chef héréditaire, un guérisseur, etc. Parce que ce n'est pas les choses qu'on peut formuler dans les définitions que nous, on veut lui donner. Tout le monde dit par exemple le mot medicine man, on trouve ça dans le cinéma de Hollywood. C'est pas plus une vérité que l'idée de Frankenstein ou Mickey Mouse, qui sont tout simplement les fabrications de Hollywood. C'est comme le mot squaw qui n'existe pas, qui ne veut rien dire, pas plus que pour la télévision. La notion d'un homme de médecine, medicine man, en vérité n'existe pas. Pour les hommes spirituels, ça n'existe pas. Il n'est pas une chamane. Une chamane s'applique à certains hommes dans certaines régions du monde. Chaque pays donne son nom à les personnes spirituelles. C'est un problème pour nous qu'on ne peut pas définir dans un terme à nous-mêmes l'homme devant nous. L'enseignement est un enseignement de la terre. Il faut pas essayer de lui mettre dans un trou carré au monde une définition précise. Son père a toujours préféré le nom un homme traditionnel de la terre, parce que son enseignement, c'était un enseignement de la terre. Il a dit, on sait la personne que je suis, moi je sais que je suis, et il ne faut pas me donner un nom. Guy, par exemple, a un nom indien, il est devant nous, il est Guy, et venait aussi, et c'est les gens, on peut parler d'eux comme ils ne sont pas ici, c'est une excuse. Mais chacun a son nom et son définition à lui-même. Et maintenant, il aimerait que chacun, en commençant ici par le côté... Okay. Si chacun parmi vous peut s'introduire et dire une phrase ou deux de ce que vous faites dans la vie, comme vous préparez.
We might be talking to a Catholic priest and we don't know who you are.
Oui, je m'appelle Hervé. Je m'appelle Hervé et je suis originaire de ce pays-ci, de cette terre chic. Et dans la vie, je suis professeur d'anglais et je
In the United States and Canada. At present, we have an artist by the name of Morceau. Morceau is one of the most well-known painters of modern and also Indian art, combining spiritual and teaching all in one. And he's already committed himself to come to travel to show his art. And there is also 3 other artists that are, so far we're looking for 6 artists from different areas and points of Canada and South America and North America. We're trying to bring some artists, and that's why when you identify yourself, so you might have some kind of a relationship with artists, so we can bring artists over here to show the well-known artists are always, people that are in the background. Marceau is pretty well known, where his cheapest art is $30,000. So he's not coming for money, he's coming for research for himself also, an Indian artist who's looking. So he's in his 50s and never been in a sweat lodge until 1 month ago. And from that time on, you can't get out of the sweat lodge. So this is a man who searched, who had it in his background all these years. So this is some things that we're doing. We're reaching into, trying to bring all of them together. Spiritual men, artists, singers, musicians, and artists, and bring them together. Because I feel that like musicians, like artists, like spiritual people, they are dreamers. They are dreamers, and they are seeking always visions and questing after the impossible. So I feel that these people in this realm of people, they have a great gift for the people, and they must share it with those that are searching. And that's one of the feelings that I have, to bring these people over here to show them what that there are people who are doing it too, but in a different area.
Dans les mois d'octobre, novembre et décembre, il espère amener un groupe des artistes des États-Unis, au Canada et ici en Europe. Parmi eux, il y a un monsieur qui s'appelle Morceau, qui est un peintre. Morceau. Qui est un peintre qui peint dans une façon traditionnelle et en même temps contemporaine. Et ils ont 3 autres artistes pour le moment. Ils espèrent avoir 6 en tout, du Canada, de l'Amérique du Sud et de l'Amérique du Nord. Cet artiste, déjà un homme qui est assez connu, ses œuvres se vendent un minimum déjà de $30,000. Donc ils ne viennent pas pour chercher de l'argent. C'est un homme d'environ 50 ans qui a fait le Hutte de Sudation pour la première fois il y a un mois. Mais c'est un homme qui est à une recherche spirituelle. Et comme tous les hommes spirituels, des artistes, des musiciens, tous sont des rêveurs. Et ils sont tous des personnes qui sont des chercheurs des visions, qui cherchent l'impossible. Et donc, ils croient que les gens comme ça doivent partager leurs cadeaux. On leur donne quelque chose.
Also, we are in the process of bringing medicine people over next month to bring some different other medicine people, and 2 elderly men that you never hear about when you talk about medicine people. We're always talking about those that you heard about, crow dog and lame deer and black elk, and that's all you hear about. But there are other medicine people. There are older people, elderly, well-respected, and just to bring them over here to show you that, we do work together, all of us medicine people. And we want to show the people that by bringing these other medicine people over, and also another young medicine man, so you can see where their minds are at and where they're working together to create a better understanding, a better network of the people. So now we have come this far, we have to encourage one another to get into this circle that is being created all over the world. A circle of understanding. There are many people standing outside of the circle. There are many people who have been part of the circle who have broken away. We must bring them back together, bring them back to the circle. And this is our main mission in life, is to create a big circle of people so that we can create that togetherness and harmony and respect and unity. We can come together and throw away all the politics ideas, throw away, your political views, throw them out the door and bring in spiritual, bring yourself. That's what counts the most. Now, don't bring along things that are political. I don't want to hear anything about Charles de Gaulle, or I don't want to hear about the American Indian movement. I don't want to hear about President Carter or Reagan or anybody. Those are animals within themselves. There are many spiritual people involved there, but they have to come. So we can leave our titles sitting outside. If you are a doctor, put your title on a tree someplace. Come as a human, together. Together, working together, we can leave our titles behind. Become all as one. Don't come as, President of France or anything like this. You know who you are. You know what you do, and that is the most important thing, to understand who you are. If you don't know who you are, you got a big problem. You have the biggest problem if you can't find yourself. It takes many years to find yourself, and it's better to find yourself. You take Guy, he hasn't found himself yet. I think he's going around in a circle outside. He's always lost, so he's going around in a circle.
Can I, Archie, when you use the word in English, medicine people, what do you mean so that I can translate it in a way that they can understand?
You say spiritual person or spiritual manners.
J'ai posé la question parce que Archie utilise le mot medicine people et il n'y a pas vraiment une traduction en français pour cette phrase, donc on va dire les gens spirituels. Dans les mois qui viennent, il y aura 2 vieux, des hommes spirituels qui vont venir. Ce n'est pas les gens qui sont très connus, parce qu'on parle toujours des mêmes personnes qui sont très connues par tout le monde. Mais il y a plein des autres qui ne sont pas du tout connus, qui continuent dans le même chemin. Et il y aura aussi une personne très jeune. Et l'idée est pour créer une meilleure compréhension parmi tous les gens qui ont besoin de faire partie d'un grand cercle dans le monde. Il y a plein de gens en dehors, il y a plein de gens qui faisaient partie, qui l'ont quitté. Et il faut que tous ces gens soient réunis et deviennent une partie. Il faut rejeter les idées politiques, il faut garder les notions spirituelles et pas politiques. Il faut laisser vos titres d'ailleurs, si vous êtes monsieur le docteur, monsieur le médecin, etc. La chose la plus importante est d'entrer dans ce cercle comme un cercle humain. Et c'est pas important que vous êtes le président de France. La chose qui est importante est de savoir vous-même qui vous êtes. Et c'est pas un chemin qui est nécessairement facile. Il faut prendre beaucoup de temps pour savoir qui on est. Mais c'est une recherche qui est essentielle et importante. Et il a dit, Guy est là quelque part pour chercher qui il est. Il est perdu quelque part.
Tomorrow we will spend maybe half hour or maybe 1 hour after breakfast and talk about just what we expect to build a sweat lodge. And between now and tomorrow we should find where we can get the wood, where we can get the rocks. There's a lot of rocks around here, but we got to find the right kind of rocks. I see a lot of them in the walls, We might dig them out. I don't know where they got them. Some of those rocks are very nice. Not all of them. You have to find out what kind of rocks. I want to talk to you about rocks tomorrow morning, so you know what kind of rocks to get. In the past, as Francisco knows, that we couldn't find no rocks in Etrechi, and so we use blocks, square rocks. And we use those for the sweat lodge. They fit pretty nice inside the sweat lodge. They're all square, so they fit inside there. There's no round rocks, they're all square. They came from the building, from the church. Other parts in Belgium, we took some from the church. Right from the church, we pull them out. We use them for the sweat lodge. That's probably the best thing ever happened to this church. We use them for a sacred ceremony, But we don't want to do that tomorrow. We don't want to tear down somebody's church. We can find out where those rocks are. We have to find out if we have enough covers for the sweat lodge, if we have enough everything to build a sweat lodge. We got to find this out between now and tomorrow morning by inquiring around, and then some of us can go pick rocks, other ones can get the sage and get all the parts that we need. So we can do that tomorrow and get the rock started. And tomorrow evening, we'd like to hold a man and woman sweat, mates, man and wife, man and wife, man and wife. That's the only kind of sweat we'll have tomorrow evening. The next day we'll have a long women healing sweat lodge. And the following day, around the afternoon, which is Sunday, we'll have a long men's sweat lodge, about 4 hours. So we'll have some long sweat lodges. Healing, learning how to heal our own self. Healing yourself is more essential today than it was yesterday. Because if you look at the prices of your doctor bill, you will understand why, you want to learn how to heal yourself. You can heal yourself, it's very easy. You don't need chemicals. So you learn how to heal yourself spiritually, or mentally, or physically. You learn how to heal yourself and take care of yourself. So we become better understanding. We can go through life without getting sick. We don't have to run up a bill for the doctor, so the doctor can laugh on his way to the bank. Or the doctor can buy himself a new Rolls Royce, or anything like this. So we learn to heal ourselves from inside, and this is what we must learn. In a healing sweat lodge, we can learn that in the next few days. It takes long, but we have enough time. We will be patient and take our time. And we don't want to do all of them at the same time, in a hurry, as we have done in the past. We build a sweat lodge tonight, and we run 4 sweat lodges tomorrow. And tomorrow evening, half of you will be out. It's too intense. You got to go slow. Take your time. Take your time and learn. There's many of you that don't know too much about it. Some of you that know something about it, and yet it seems to me that the more you learn, the dumber you become. So we have to go back to the drawing board again, and start all over again. And sometimes some of us have a very thick head. Our head is very thick. We can't learn too fast. The older we get, the thicker our head becomes. We keep coming back. But we keep getting dumber. Eventually, you have to get smart. So I got it now. I got it. And it takes time to do that. Guy's been with me 6 years, and he hasn't learned nothing yet. So you have to see from him. how long it takes,
Demain, après petit déjeuner, on va passer une demi-heure, 1 heure, pour discuter un peu ce qu'on attend de la Hutte de Sudation, ce qu'il faut faire au niveau du bois, les pierres, etc. Et il va essayer de nous expliquer les sortes de pierres qu'il faut trouver. Parce qu'il y a des pierres qui sont bien, des pierres qui sont moins bien. Mais c'est pas toujours possible. Ici, il y a beaucoup de pierres. C'est pas toujours possible de les trouver. Dans le passé, ils ont trouvé même des blocs carrés. Je suppose que c'était des sortes de blocs en béton. En Belgique, ils ont carrément retiré ces blocs de l'église. Il a dit que c'était la meilleure chose peut-être qui est arrivée à cette église dans son histoire. Il y a aussi, demain matin, il va essayer d'expliquer les autres choses qu'il faut préparer pour le faire. Demain soir, il y aura une sweat lodge pour les couples, pour les femmes et leurs épouses. Le prochain soir, une très grande sweat lodge de guérison pour les femmes et dimanche pour les hommes. Le guérison aujourd'hui, c'est la chose la plus essentielle qui existe. C'est plus essentiel aujourd'hui que c'était hier. Et avant tout, si on voit le prix des médecins, il faut apprendre à se guérir soi-même l'esprit, ça veut dire d'un point de vue mental et physique. Être malade rend service uniquement à un médecin qui irait tout le chemin à la banque ou peut se procurer une Rolls-Royce. Il faut apprendre à se guérir de l'intérieur. Et tout ça peut être appris. On a suffisamment de temps, il faut avoir la patience. Il y a des gens ici qui ont déjà eu cette expérience du sweat lodge, mais en même temps, Archie explique, on a la tendance de penser on a appris quelque chose et finalement, à chaque coup, on se rend compte qu'on est plus stupide que jamais. Et il faut toujours recommencer et réapprendre les choses. Parce que aussi avec l'âge, on a l'impression de devenir de plus en plus bête. Mais éventuellement, on peut arriver. Il y a Guy qui a fait ce travail avec lui depuis 6 ans, et jusqu'à aujourd'hui, il n'a rien appris. Donc il y a toujours, avec la patience, on va tous apprendre.
Is there any questions?
Est-ce que vous avez des questions à poser?
Je voudrais lui demander s'il a fini son livre, la suite du livre de son père.
Have you finished your book, the one that follows the book of your father's book?
My book is finished. And right now the lawyers, I have 2 lawyers and they are negotiating for a higher price. So far, they have offered $250,000. But the lawyers said, for me, that's okay. But for the lawyers, that's not enough money.
Il a terminé son livre, mais c'est les avocats qui sont en négociation. Ils ont offert $250,000 pour le livre. Ça paraît largement assez pour lui. Mais les avocats estiment que ce n'est pas assez. Donc c'est à cette étape en ce moment.
But at the same time, we are going to do a video. We will be doing a video of my life story, 2 sequels.
Ils vont faire une
I might be the
vidéo
next JR, I don't know.
en 2 parties. Il va devenir le prochain JR. You have to put an eagle feather in your hair.
Right,
That's
right.
the way to do it.
Yes, we decided to do a video before the book, so they can negotiate all they want with the book with the publishers, and we can do the video, 2 sequels for the television on ABC. So I'm trying to let the world know what I'm doing all over the world. Most people don't know what I'm doing. You know, most people think that I'm just traveling all over the world. You know, or some people think I'm making millions of dollars. You know, some people think they don't know what I'm doing. you know. Sometimes they get me confused. I don't know what I'm doing myself.
Ils disent que par la vidéo, il espère que beaucoup plus de monde va savoir qu'est-ce qu'il fait, mais dont tout le monde il peut comprendre. Mais les gens parfois terminent à tel point où il ne sait pas qu'est-ce qu'il fait lui-même. Donc il laisse les avocats négocier tous ces côtés des choses et il essaie de continuer et faire ses vidéos. Et comme il m'avait expliqué avant, il espère que la vidéo sera terminée au même temps que le livre sera prêt d'être publié et une va encourager les gens pour rencontrer l'autre, la vidéo et le livre.
I want to do this video, a good part of it in Europe, only at the spiritual sites where there is standing stones, places where we prayed, and to show the people of the world that these are places still in existence throughout Europe, throughout Japan, throughout China. And a camera crew will travel with me. They will be arriving 3 or 4 weeks from now. And as soon as they arrive, we will be doing videos all across the country to show the world that there are places where there are ceremonies, and how ceremonies are done, they are still here. There are probably about 80% of European people don't know that there is spiritual sites here in Europe. And because they don't know, they run to Tibet, they run to China, they run to America, searching and searching and searching. And yet the ceremonies and the sites, the spiritual grounds is still here. And you have it right in your own background, in your own backyard. It's the idea of it is the teaching has been scattered throughout the world. It's like everything else. Some of the teaching lies someplace, probably in the archives in these dolmens. They do have a meaning. They mean something. The old people left them there for that reason, because they understood it. That's because they're not here now. But because they're not here doesn't mean that they're excluded, because the air that flows is the same air that went into your grandfather's lungs. It made a circle inside your body and it came back out. It's that same air. You are breathing that air right now. Somebody who has gone to the spirit world. Maybe even a dinosaur used that same air that's going inside of you. Or maybe even an ant or a plant, or even a shark or a fish in the water. This air is going around in a circle here, and we are breathing it every day, and we're praying and we're letting it out. So therefore, the spiritual understanding and the air that's there is still coming around us, they're bringing us this good feeling. But we take it for granted that, we breathe it in and out and that's it. It's keeping you alive. It's true. It's one of the elements. But you have to understand that it is a sacred element. And we have to use it in the best way we know how and not to pollute it.
En quelques semaines, ces groupes, il y a cette équipe qui va venir pour commencer à préparer ces vidéos. Et ils vont les filmer partout en Europe où il y a des sites sacrés. Il y a des endroits de prière, par exemple comme Stonehenge, les menhirs, etc. Il y a encore des endroits très très sacrés qui existent dans cette partie du monde où il y a toujours les cérémonies. On a une tendance tous de courir ailleurs. On va au Tibet, on va aux États-Unis, on va à la recherche d'un endroit qui est sacré ailleurs. Et finalement, il y a des sites aussi sacrés ici, comme il dit, dans notre backyard. C'est derrière la maison, on peut les trouver. Et le problème est que l'enseignement qui fait partie de ces sites est éparpillé et séparé dans le monde entier. Et une des choses qu'il faut faire est réassembler toutes ces connaissances et tous ces enseignements qui peut nous aider à donner une valeur et une compréhension de ces sites. Tous ces endroits ont un sens aussi important que les sites à l'étranger. C'est les vieux, nos ancêtres, qui ont laissé ces choses pour nous. L'air que eux, ils ont respiré, c'est le même air que nous sommes en train de respirer nous-mêmes. Et c'est le même air peut-être qui était respiré par les dinosaures, par les plantes anciennes, par les poissons, parce que c'est une partie d'une continuité spirituelle, parce que l'air finalement est une partie des choses sacrées, qu'il ne faut pas dans ce sens-là polluer non plus.
Does anybody here have a problem with their heart?
Est-ce qu'il y a quelqu'un ici qui a un problème avec le cœur?
I had some,
She had a problem.
but it wasn't very serious.
Breathing problem? Anybody with a breathing
Problème de
problem?
respiration.
You have to sit high up in the air, right?
C'est pour ça que vous restez bien plus haut que les autres, plus d'oxygène.
I don't think you have too much of a problem. I mention those because inside the sweat lodge, it's usually they have a hard time.
Il parle de ça parce que dans le sweat lodge, parfois des gens qui ont des problèmes de respiration, des problèmes de cœur, sont plus touchés, ils ont plus de problèmes. Ça risque de créer un problème.
Or claustrophobia.
Ou claustrophobie.
No one has that problem, okay? Because it's going to be hot inside that sweat lodge. For the men and women sweat, for the couple sweat is not going to be so hot.
Pour les il fait très chaud à l'intérieur, pour les couples c'est moins chaud.
I would like to have that for those of you that have your husbands here with you or your wives here with you, it's for tomorrow evening. So I don't want you to find a wife or a husband before tonight.
C'est pour les couples demain soir, mais c'est pas nécessaire pour eux qui n'ont pas de chercher un mari ou une femme pour demain soir. Votre tour reviendra. J'ai pas compris. C'est pour les couples demain soir, mais si vous n'êtes pas ici avec votre mari ou votre femme, c'est pas nécessaire de chercher une. Pour demain soir, vous aurez votre tour à la suite.
Pourquoi est-ce que la température est moins élevée pour les couples que pour les personnes?
Why is the temperature less hot for when they're couples than when they're individuals?
Because we're together.
Parce que les couples sont ensemble,
They got somebody to hold on to when they get hot.
Parce qu'ils se tiennent chaud, c'est ça. Ouais, c'est parce qu'ils se tiennent chaud. They keep each other warm.
I mentioned that because we had an experience in Saint-Jean-du-Fosse with my friend there, Venait, and everybody was married that was going in the sweat lodge, so this elderly lady went over there and picked him, This is my husband for today. I had no argument with that. So you don't want it to happen again, so just
T'étais d'accord, René?
La dernière fois, ils ont fait un sweat lodge, il y avait tous les couples sont entrés, il y avait René qui était là, Et il y avait une vieille dame toute seule et elle est allée choisir René pour entrer là-dedans. Je ne sais pas, il n'a pas dit s'il était d'accord ou non. Voilà.
We do that to strengthen, the marriages. In this way, they go and pray together, strengthen the marriage between man and woman.
C'est fait pour les couples pour fortifier les relations entre les couples.
We will stop right now for some tea.
On va arrêter pour prendre un thé.
If somebody can go over and tell the person who makes the tea or has the tea, stop about
On va arrêter pour 45 minutes.
Participer encore à une sweat lodge.
Oui.
I just asked if there are several people here in the sweat lodge for the first time. Nine. Oh, yes. 9. There's 10 altogether. I've not sweat lodge before. I think tomorrow we're going to be building the sweat lodge, so we're eating breakfast at 6:30 in the morning. That means you have to go to bed early tonight, so you can get up early. And we leave here around 7:15. Some of us picking rocks, some of them cutting willows. Possibly only six or eight people cutting willow. The rest of them picking rocks. 4 or 5 good workers left behind to prepare the land over here where the sweat lodge is going to be. So then about the time we eat lunch, we should have all that material together. So we can start immediately at 1:30 tomorrow to start building the sweat lodge. Starting with the fire pit, as always, we build the fire first. And while the fire is being built and the rocks are getting hot, we are building the sweat lodge. All of us participating. Around probably pretty early we'll have the sweat lodge as soon as the rocks get hot, so that will make it around we should be going in around 4:30, 5 o'clock. All the married couples that are here.
Demain, on va faire construire le sweat lodge. Le petit déjeuner sera à 6h30 et vers 7h15, on va partir. Ça veut dire on sera divisé en petits groupes. Il y aura des gens qui seront responsables pour ramasser les pierres, les autres un groupe qui restera ici pour préparer le terrain, etc. Et par déjeuner, tous les matériaux doivent être ramassés parce qu'on va commencer la construction vers 13h30. La première chose qui sera construite sera le partie pour le feu, où les pierres doivent chauffer, et pendant le temps que les pierres chauffent, la construction va continuer. Et d'ici, tout va comme il faut. Pour les couples, ça sera prêt entre 16h30 et 17h.
For tomorrow's sweat lodge for the couple's sweat lodge, married people, would not take very long. It would be a regular sweat lodge. It would not be a healing sweat lodge, so it would be short, probably an hour and a half. It wouldn't take very long. The next day is when the sweat lodge should begin around 3:30 in the afternoon. So you'll go till the sun goes down, which is around 7:30 or 7:45. And that's for the women first. So those of you women that are afraid right now, you can write your wills right now, to your husbands, boyfriends. The men can do the same for the next day. In case you don't survive. You have nothing left in this world. But there's have to understand is that we go in the sweat lodge to pray. We don't go in there to lose weight. We don't go in there because we're curious. We're going in there because we are searching for ourselves. And we help you in that search by teaching you about the sweat lodge, the purification ceremony. We'll say healing ceremony sounds better than sweat lodge. Sweat lodge sounds too much Sylvester Stallone or something like that. Too macho. Sweat lodge. Sweat lodge. It don't sound right. It don't seem right. You have to have healing ceremony. It sounds better. Because that's exactly what you're doing anyway. You're healing yourself or learning how to heal yourself. To learn it in a good way and how to do it. So for those of you that will be going in for the first time, we'll try not to make it too hot for you. We'll just use 64 rocks. 16 doors. It's different from a regular sweat lodge. A regular sweat lodge is only 4 doors. The healing ceremony is 16 doors. Sometimes it feels like it never ends. It just goes on and on and on and on. It gets hotter and hotter and hotter. It makes you forget how to pray. And that's what we want to encourage you to learn how to pray at time when you are in most danger. Like you're ready to die, you learn how to pray. You're in an accident, instead of screaming, you learn how to pray in silence and keep your composure. Learning how to pray. So we try to teach you how to pray. And that's one thing that you must learn how to do, is to learn how to pray. I know you can pick up a Bible. That's easy to do. Any idiot can do that. You can pick up a Bible and read a verse from the Bible. Anyone can do that. That doesn't make him a Christian. that doesn't make him a man that believes in the Creator. Just a person just shows that he can read. And that's what it amounts to. Because today's spiritual teaching, which is being written, is not being practiced. It is just being read by people. When you just read it, it has no significance because you don't apply it. You don't apply that teaching to yourself, and it hurts you in many ways. It hurts you because you only learn how to pray from the top of your head, or just from your head. You don't know how to pray from your heart. To learn how to apply it from the heart. If the Christian teaching, if the teaching of Jesus Christ kept its original position, there wouldn't be no need for teachers of the world to come and teach to you what has been forgotten. But the teaching of this man they call Jesus Christ was completely forgotten. And now that teaching in the churches of the world is of political nature, and it has nothing to do with Jesus Christ. If Jesus Christ came here today, he'd probably die of a heart attack, what they have done to his teaching. And that is a feeling that you get. You teach somebody something, you come back 1,000 years later and you don't recognize it. What is this? You don't recognize it at all. So it completely lost its credibility. So we lost it. So we have to go back again to start to teach you in different ways so we can learn from one another.
Le Sweat Lodge demain ne sera pas une Sweat Lodge de guérison, ça c'est pour les couples une fois de plus, ça va durer que 1h30. Le lendemain, on doit commencer vers 15h30 jusqu'au coucher de soleil qui sera vers 19h ou 20h. Ça sera pour les femmes. Et Archie dit, si vous avez peur, vous pouvez commencer à écrire votre testament pour votre mari ou vos petites amies maintenant. Pareil pour les hommes pour le lendemain. Il faut rappeler que le Sweat Lodge est pour prier. C'est pas pour faire la régime ou pour la curiosité, mais pour une recherche en soi-même. Le mot Sweat Lodge même, c'est peut-être un terme un peu macho, que peut-être il vaut mieux dire un rite de guérison, parce que finalement, c'est une façon d'apprendre de se guérir. Il répète qu'on va utiliser 64 pierres, 16 portes. Dans les Sweat Lodge habituels, il y a 4 portes, donc ce sera un peu moins chaud. Parfois, une fois là-dedans, on a l'impression que c'est interminable, que ça dure et ça dure et ça dure. Mais il faut apprendre dans des conditions qui parfois sont dures. C'est dans ces conditions qu'il faut apprendre à prier. C'est quelque chose de plus nécessaire. Tout le monde peut prendre la Bible et le lire. Et c'est pas ça qui fait le chrétien. Aujourd'hui, la spiritualité est lue comme par la Bible, mais pas du tout pratiquée ni appliquée. Ça nous fait du mal parce que on ne prie pas par la tête, mais il faut prier du cœur. Si les enseignements de Jésus-Christ étaient pratiqués comme ils étaient à l'époque, on n'aurait pas besoin des enseignements mondiaux comme il existe aujourd'hui. En effet, tous ces enseignements sont tordus dans l'Église et tordus dans la pratique. Il dit, si Jésus-Christ reviendra, est revenu déjà un jour, il aurait eu une crise cardiaque.
those of you who have never been in the sweat lodge, I'd like to know if there's any questions.
Pour les gens qui n'ont jamais fait le sweat lodge avant, est-ce qu'il y a des questions, des choses que vous aimez savoir?
There's a word that you say is mitake oyasin in my language. And in English language it means, it has a long term. In reality, what it really means in English language means, forgive me, for I am weak. That's what it means, but in English language it says, all my relations. It has a big, that's the only word that lets you out of the sweat lodge. You can learn how to say it in French. If you know, all my relations, or mitake oyasin, all my relations, you can say that in French. It's the only word that you use to come out of the sweat lodge. You don't say, let me out of here. I want to get out. I'm burning up. I'm dying. I'm not going to let you out. Or hell. Like this, There's no, I don't understand those words. Mitake oyasin, all my relations. When you open the door, you go out and you can't come back in. Once you break a circle, you cannot return to the circle. You break away from a circle, you cannot return. It is like two married people. You break the circle, you cannot return. And only the consensus of the two, they can return. So when you break a circle, like you say, all my relations, that doesn't mean you're a very weak person. It just means that you know your physical capabilities and you want to go out. And we let you out the door. You go outside. Sitting outside, once you cool off, you want to go back in, but you can't. You got to wait till next time. So it's better to endure it. It's better to stay inside and sweat. It's sweat from every pore of your body. It's better to do that than just to sweat from your nose. Not to sweat from your eyes, and your toenails, and your fingernails. You want it to be so hot so all your red fingernail paint will come off. If you have any red fingernails or toenails. You want to melt them off. Or your lipstick, or your red cheeks, or whatever. And if you have contact lenses off, take them off because they're going to curl inside. And your contact lenses will be hanging out like this. And don't wear your glasses in the sweat lodge. Don't wear your earrings. Don't wear diamond rings on your toes or on your fingers, or your ring around your nose. You don't need to wear those. It gets hot inside. And that will burn you. The metal will burn you. Take your St. Christopher medal off. Leave it outside for somebody who was drowned.
Archie, when you say all my relations, what do you mean by the word relations?
It's a long explanation. Relations to the Indian means everything that the Creator has created, which is holy. And it doesn't mean anything to do with everything man has made. For everything man has made is not holy. But all things made by the Creator is holy. So that means everything. Plants, trees, animals, mice, spiders, frogs, snakes, ants, insects, germs, everything that the Creator has created. So Those are the relations. It not necessarily means your cousin or your relative or a fellow human being. It means everything the Creator has created. So it encompasses a very broad, forgive me, where I am weak. That's what you're saying to all these elements when you come out of that sweat lodge. There are times when people have said different things. I taught a guy, I don't want to say all my relations because it doesn't have no meaning. I want to say mitake wayasam. I taught this guy who was a linguist. He was also learning about religion studies at UCSB in Santa Barbara. All day he learned this language, word. Mitake wayasam, mitake wayasam. Every 5 hours he asked me again. I tell him again. He goes on. We're working together, building the sweat lodge. When the sweat lodge started, it was so hot inside. He completely forgotten about mitake. He didn't know what to say. He sat inside. Oh, he asked that friend next to him. He said, "How do you say to get out?" The other one said, "I don't know." So he howled like, "All my doggies." All my doggies. He let it go this way. I said that was about as close as he could think of at this time. It was so hot inside. So when it gets hot inside, you're going to forget. You're going to forget what to say. And your eyes are burning up. If your eyes are open inside, you can't see nothing. I don't know why your eyes are open, because you can't see anything anyway. And your breath is being very hot, so it's warm all the way around inside. And I try to make it as miserable for you as possible. Because you wasn't comfortable inside of your mother when you came out. You wanted to get out, and that's why you're here. Now that you're here, we're still going to make it miserable for you. Inside the sweat lodge is the best place to make it miserable for you. So you make that right connection to the earth. It's hard being a human if you really look at it. It is always a spiritual test all your life, being human. Learning how to love one another is one of the hardest things to do. So we have to learn. And we're not torturing you. We're trying to make you understand what it means. Somebody loves you. Somebody understands you, and we have to make that understood. We don't do it for us, we do it for you. So for those of you that are going in the first time, we can make this sweat lodge so hot that it's unbearable. You can't stand it. I have seen it in this manner so much, so hot that it was, the skin came off my shoulders and my forehead and off my ears. The skin just came off. It was so hot in there. But those other medicine men wasn't going to run me out. I was persistent to stay in there and pray harder and harder. And at the end, we all came out together with less skin, but stronger in spirit. And that's not what we're going to do to you. So no one has ever died in the sweat lodge. Always remember that. You're not going to die of heat because it's so hot you think you're going to die. What you do is you learn how to pray. The harder you pray, the less heat there is inside. So you pray a little bit harder inside. If it's getting hotter and hotter, pray harder and harder. Keep your eyes closed. And breathe through your mouth and nose at the same time, both together like this. Don't breathe just through the nose. You're going to hurt yourself. When you breathe only through your nose in a sweat lodge, you will get panicked. You will get panicky inside because your nose cannot take that much. It will burn out your sinuses. So if you breathe slow through the nose and mouth, it helps you. You cannot breathe entirely from your mouth. It will burn out your lungs. So you have to breathe very slowly through the mouth and nose. And let the air circulate inside and let it out very slowly. Breathe slow, both at the same time, and you will survive. But if you breathe just through the nose, and it gets hotter and hotter, you're going to breathe harder and harder through your nose. And pretty soon your nose is all plugged up. You can't breathe no more. Then your mouth, and you can't breathe, and you run out the door. You get panicky. So breathing technique is one of the strongest elements inside the sweat lodge, to learn how to breathe. If you don't know how to breathe, you're going to have some problems.
Pour sortir du sweat lodge, j'ai pas encore, I still can't repronounce what you have just pronounced. Mistake? Yeah. I have to learn it. Okay.
Mitake oyase.
Mistake
Oyase.
oyase. Qui veut dire pardonnez-moi car je suis faible, toutes mes relations. J'ai posé la question, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire, toutes mes relations? Et ça veut dire tout ce que Dieu a créé sur la terre. Ce n'est pas les choses qui étaient créées par l'homme, mais tout ce qui était créé, les arbres, les serpents, les animaux, les rivières. C'est ça qui est impliqué dans le sens toutes mes relations. Si vous dites au secours ou laisse-moi sortir, il ne va pas vous laisser sortir. Il faut rappeler cette notion. Soit les paroles en Lakota, ou soit la phrase pardonnez-moi quand je suis faible, toutes mes relations. Une fois vous êtes sorti, vous ne pouvez pas retourner. Même si, vous avez l'impression, c'était très chaud, vous sortez, vous êtes rafraîchi, vous voulez rentrer, c'est plus possible. C'est comme il y a un cercle, et vous quittez le cercle, vous ne pouvez pas retourner dans le cercle. Ou si vous êtes un couple, vous quittez le couple, vous n'allez pas rentrer et refaire le couple, sauf s'il y a un accord entre les deux. C'est une question aussi de transpirer par tout le corps. Ce n'est pas une transpiration, vous n'allez pas transpirer un peu et ça arrête là. Parce qu'avec la chaleur, on transpire de toute partie du corps. Il faut, si vous portez les lentilles de contact, il faut les enlever, le même pour les lunettes et tous les bijoux, parce que le métal, ça chauffe et ça risque de vous brûler. Il a raconté l'histoire d'une personne qui étudiait la linguistique, qui a pratiqué ses paroles en Lakota sans arrêt, toute une journée. Et une fois dans le sweat lodge, il est devenu de plus en plus chaud, la chaleur, et il a commencé à suer, et transpirer, et dans un seul coup, il a commencé à paniquer, il a dit, mais il a oublié les paroles pour sortir, et finalement il dit, laissez-moi tous mes chiens, laissez-moi sortir tous mes chiens, pour rappeler les paroles, très important. Il a dit, il vaut mieux que vous gardez vos yeux fermés, il n'y a rien à voir et ça brûle les yeux si vous laissez les yeux ouverts. Un de ses buts est de ne pas rendre les choses très confortables. Vous êtes sorti du ventre de votre mère parce que ce n'était pas très confortable. Et d'être un être humain n'est pas confortable non plus. C'est très difficile. Et quand même, quelqu'un vous aime sur cette terre, il faut rappeler ça. Et il a dit, il a eu l'expérience où il était dans une sweat lodge lui-même qui était tellement chaud, c'était presque insupportable, et il a commencé à peler. Mais il a dit les autres medicine men qui étaient là, personne ne pouvait le chasser. Il est resté, il a prié de plus en plus fort. Et c'est ça, il faut apprendre à prier. Et personne n'est mort là-dedans. Vous n'allez pas mourir. Il faut apprendre à prier. Et par le fait de prier, vous oubliez le fait qu'il y a autant de chaleur. Une autre chose très très importante est la façon de respirer. Il ne faut pas respirer uniquement par le nez, mais il faut respirer par le nez et la bouche en même temps et très très doucement. Si vous respirez uniquement par le nez, très vite le nez est bouché par l'humidité de chaleur. Mais il faut respirer par les deux et très très doucement. Il parle de ça, il répète ça plusieurs fois. Et c'est une des choses les plus importantes à apprendre, c'est cette respiration qui est régulière et très doucement par le nez et par la bouche.
Je n'ai pas compris les paroles de sortie.
Les paroles de sortie, c'est « Pardonnez-moi car je suis faible, moi étant être humain, devant tout ce qui était créé dans le monde. Donc pardonnez-moi car je suis faible, toutes mes relations. » Les relations veut dire votre rapport avec tout ce qui vous êtes faible devant la nature. Vous êtes faible devant les arbres, devant les rivières, etc. C'est une phrase très très difficile à traduire.
Une parole qu'il faut dire, c'est une ressortie.
Oui.
Mais on n'est pas obligé de dire tout ça quand même.
Non.
Mais vous pouvez dire les paroles. Vous pouvez dire les paroles en Lakota. Moi, je suis incapable de le
Attends, Roberta, tu dis tous les miens pour les Français.
Ah, tous les miens.
Tous les miens. Il y a Homme Sacré, c'est un Lakota.
Ok.
C'est tout.
Tous les miens.
Tous les miens.
Et tous les miens, ça suffit.
Ok.
Ça veut dire tout ce que tu as
Non,
dit.
oui, mais d'accord.
C'est tout.
C'est quand tu veux
Tout.
sortir.
Quand tu veux sortir.
Tu as trois.
They just were asking again about what they had to say when they relate to the sweat Est-ce que tu peux mettre ça peut-être sur le tableau en français, ça serait bien, et en Lakota pour ceux qui...
Il y a un rituel pour rentrer aussi.
On n'est pas là encore.
On parle d'abord du plus important.
It's easier to say it It's easier to say it in
C'est
French.
plus facile à dire en français qu'en Lakota.
You can say it faster.
Et c'est plus rapide en français en plus.
Like I've said, those of you that are here for the first time, you're going to be benefiting from this because we're going into the healing ceremony. So you might have to not skip over the sweat lodge by itself, but healing yourself, learning how to heal yourself. the healing ceremony is in reference. There is a difference between the sweat lodge and the healing ceremony. The healing ceremony is completely different from other rituals that we have. But the healing ceremony is for strengthening of your heart, strengthening of your lungs, strengthening of your nerves, purifying and thinning your blood, and teaching you how to breathe, which are some of the most important elements that we need as we are in this body that we're in. We have to learn how to do these things, and through the healing ceremony, if you learn how to do this, to strengthen your heart, lungs, nerves, blood, and breathing, then the rest is easy. The rest is easy in reference to healing yourself. You have to learn how to heal yourself. Because you must understand that 50% of all natural diseases in the world, that you have the remedy for it. As a human, having the will to live. The will to live is 50%. If a person does not have the will to live, then he just goes down the hill very fast. He loses all elements of functioning and eventually dies. So the will to live, the will to survive, to take care of your body, this is what the healing ceremony is all about. We go in there and we teach you how to pray. You, of course, don't pray for material things. You don't pray because you don't have a boyfriend. You don't pray that you get a boyfriend or you don't get a girlfriend. You know, if you got a small car, you don't pray for a big car or a big house or a better job. You don't pray for any of that. I've heard it all. In the sweat lodge, I've heard everything. I heard people praying for better things because they got something already. Pray because a man had a horse, he prayed for a better horse. What's he going to do with the better horse? If he can't treat the first horse in a good way, what does he want a good horse? Be happy with what you got. Other things come easily if you learn to respect everything that you have. And that includes children. If you respect your children, they learn to respect you in the long run. Sometimes we don't think so, but it happens. They learn to respect you. So, in the healing ceremony, there are different teachings than the regular sweat lodge, because it goes deeper in the teaching. Sweat lodge, you get in there and you get out, you're ready for the next ceremony. That's what the sweat lodge does. The sweat lodge as a purification ceremony, what that is what we know as the sweat lodge, is going inside, purifying yourself before you go participate in this bigger ceremony. Like at the Sundance. All the Sundancers, they must go in the sweat lodge, purify themselves before they go dance all day. UEP people must go in the sweat lodge before they participate. But today, UEP ceremonies are being done without the participants.